Mark Brinker's having trouble with his.
Well, we're out live on YouTube, so.
We are live on YouTube. Say where at on the community page.
Probably yes.
I just looked on that.
Okay, Mike, so we're just gonna call it to order. We got public comment, minutes, treasurer's report, those kind of things.
Okay. All right, call this meeting to order.
Brink, he's here, but not really, so.
We see him.
Cribs. Culpepper,
Yeah,
Ridsdale,
Here.
Shinsky,
Here.
Woods,
Present.
Dar, Hunt. Okay,
all right.
Here.
Next item on the agenda is public comments. Anyone that is out there that has anything to address to this committee at this time that's not on the agenda? All right. If not, we'll move on to minutes. Motion to accept the minutes of last meeting.
Aye.
I'll second it. Dave Shinsky.
thank you.
And I will remind each and every one of you that she has to have a roll call to know that you acknowledge, so that I've speeded up for calling.
Brink, I don't think he can hear me still. Cribs. On the minutes, do you vote yes? You gotta unmute her. Oh, Cassie.
Some people have their voice muted.
Yep.
Sorry, what did you need?
I need Wendy unmuted. We're taking the roll call.
All right, sorry, there she is.
Okay. She said yes. Culpepper,
Yes,
Ridsdale,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Dar, Hunt. Oh, Fargo.
Yes.
Okay,
motion carried. Treasurer's report.
so we have two treasurer's reports, one from February, one from March.
Okay. So you want to have a motion for separate?
You can do them together if you want.
Okay, that's just like that. Uh-oh. I'm going crazy here.
Paula's sharing her screen. She's all
Yeah.
fancy.
I was gonna say, she changed on to my screen's got everything. So,
I was gonna show you the treasurer's report since you didn't have it, but that's,
I read them.
okay, good.
I've read everything. I just didn't print them off.
Okay,
So we got a motion to accept the treasurer's report as written, both treasurer's reports.
Still makes a motion to accept the treasurer reports as written.
You have a motion? I have a second.
Dave Shinsky seconds.
thank you. All right, Wendy, we're asking for a vote again on the treasurer's report. Culpepper,
Yes.
Ridsdale,
Yes.
Shinsky,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Dar, oh, he's not here still. Hunt,
Yes.
okay. So the next item on the agenda, Mike, is the TIFA plan, and we have Carmen and Justin here to talk about where they're at with the update on our TIFA plan.
Okay. folks, if you'd like to take off and lead whichever way you choose to tell us what you want to tell us, we'll be all ears.
Okay, I can start out. This is Carmen Aventini with CIB Planning, and Justin is also here. We're working jointly on the DDA plan update. And obviously we got delayed just a little bit with all that we have going on right now, but we are in the process of catching up. I think the main thing is we want to make sure that the plan is updated by the end of the year, fully adopted and the like. So it does go back quite a ways when it was first adopted, and typically when your time frame runs out, it's already expired. But because you did borrow against it, you've got like another year left on it, so it's a good time to update the plan. And I had met with you previously, several months ago. I think it was last summer or towards the end of the summer, and we had talked about this in some of the projects we're going to be putting in there. But what I'll do is I'll turn it over to Justin now in case he wants to add anything just about the process and what we're going through right now.
Sure. Thank you, Carmen, and good evening, everybody. So we are in the process right now. I would say, according to the proposal that we gave you, I would say we're about midstream. So what we're doing right now is going through verifying the from the old plan or the previous plan that we're still active, and there is the clause that's in the previous plan. The duration of the plan shall be 20 or end on December 31st, 2009, so the following two conditions are met. So it says the purpose for which the development plan was established have been accomplished, and two, the principal and interest on any outstanding bonds issued have been paid, or funds sufficient to make payment have been segregated. So without that language, the plan would have expired in 2009, but because you still have debt, the plan is still active. What we're doing now is updating the tables, the impact of taxing jurisdictions. And Paul has been really good about sending me the millages that are captured by the DDA and what debts are outstanding and what belongs to the city, what belongs to the fire department, and how all of that fits together. So we are preparing a new, basically a new estimated TIF capture, and also updating the existing plan to be in alignment with Act 57 of 2018. So at this point, we'll be pulling all of that together and completing that. Then we'll want to start to talk to you about projects. And you did in 2017 a community improvement projects plan for the DDA for projects that you wanted to work on. And so we'll be at a minimum bringing those projects into the existing plan that we're updating, as well as adding some things that Carmen and I usually bring into plans that can give you some additional support for helping complete projects in downtown. And one of those tools will be the ability to utilize project-specific tax capture for new development within the city and within the district. So that's sort of where we're at this point. I would say we still have a few more days to go to verify all the numbers and make sure they align from the old plan to the update that we're working on right now. And we're also doing a thorough review of millages throughout Shiawassee County, just to make sure that there is millages that are available for capture that we're not capturing, or that we're not missing anything, and whether or not we would need to go out and basically seek support from any of those jurisdictions to extend the plan. And I've talked to Paula numerous times this afternoon, and the numbers she gave me reflect the current capture. And so we're not far. We're getting close. And Carmen, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you did a good job of summarizing it. Our next meeting will really focus on the projects. I think that's the important thing, the most important thing that we're going to be doing in the DDA plan update. And one of the things we want to make sure is that we put all different, we have enough, it's broad enough, the projects are broad enough, that should potential projects come along that you want to fund, that they would fall under that. What you don't want to have happen is to put project list in there, have something come along and it doesn't fall under there, and then you have to update it again. Because I can tell you from experience that DDA plans are the most difficult things to adopt in the state of Michigan. It's easier to adopt a master plan or a zoning ordinance or just about anything other than a DDA plan. So it's not something we want to update all that frequently. So we want to make sure that our projects that we all agree upon and include in the plan are broad enough that we can cover anything that might come along. So keep that in mind as we prepare for our next meeting, and when we talk through those projects. You're used to seeing a lot of real specific items in there, and there's nothing preventing you from keeping those outside the plan, still having those numbers, but keeping them outside the plan and putting general categories in the plan, so that whenever you want to update your project list, you don't have to amend your plan. You can just update the list internally. So we're going to help you with stuff like that, make it a lot easier to work with, and you'll be covered for quite a long time with the project list that we're putting in there.
Yeah, so I would say for the next meeting, the two items that we would have for you to look at would be the updated tax increment finance tables showing where you've gone, where you've been, where you're going. And then the next piece would be the our compiling of a project list for your first review. If you want to do, or do we have something to add to that? So with that, I'd be happy to.
I couldn't hear a lot of that. There was
Oh.
a lot of background noise somewhere.
Okay, so what I just stated is for the next meeting, what you'll be looking at is the updated tax increment finance tables showing you where the DDA started, what you've captured to this point, and where the projections are going for the next 20 years. And then we would do the compiling of the projects list. So what you put into your 2017 community improvement plan, along with what Carmen and I are adding into the draft development plan to get your initial feedback and input.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, are you there? Frank?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And you can, do you have an agenda? Do you have an agenda, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, we're on item number 6.
Yep.
Okay, all you.
Redeveloping the Grand River site.
Yeah, we have Jill Bond here to talk about that. Is Jill still on?
I'm still here.
There she is.
Here I am. Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, let me,
Do I have to let you, or I don't know?
I think, well, let's see. Oh, it disabled. Yes, you might need to let me. Did you all get a copy of the market study or any of the concept drawings that we sent out?
Yes, I emailed that.
Perfect.
Yes, I did.
Great. Well, I thought we would just go through a little bit of where we've been, and then, or not. I can do it without sharing my screen with you, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that at this point. Oh, you know what? Cassie probably has to do it because I gave her the host.
She could make me, she can make me a co-host.
Cassie?
I'm not sure. I tried. It doesn't give me any the options. Let me click on your name, see if I can do it.
Oh, well, you know what I could do? I can send it to Paula.
I
It
have
doesn't
what
give me
you-
any options to make that.
Jill, I have what you sent me. Do you want me to share that?
Here's the, I just sent you a PDF of our PowerPoint. That might be easier.
Okay.
And really, all we wanted to do was just review the little bit of the market summary that we sent over, talk about the concept that we had, and then get some feedback from you all on the market study as well as the concept drawing, and then we'll begin to compile everything and put it together towards a marketing package that you can use to begin discussing with potential developers and property owners.
I'm downloading it now, Jill.
Okay. It's pretty short.
What's the Grand River site?
The old bank site.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
It's the old bank site.
Oh, okay, yep.
Next door to it or the actual bank?
No, the next door to it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The bank house, we call it the bank house, so
Yep, the vacant area.
yes.
Okay.
The open lot in front of the post office.
Yes.
Right, so you'll remember that back in January, Matt and I, and Matt is on the call too. He's still muted, he's waving. That we came and spoke with you back in January with Melissa from the Michigan Municipal League. And we talked about a little bit about your vision for downtown in general, and then for the site specifically. And some of the things that you shared with us then is that you were looking to build on the results from your fit assessment that you had back in November, and tap into your recreation amenities that you have locally. You talked about some mixed use development, adding housing, as well as retail spaces that were kind of multi-purpose, so that you described like a hardware store that might offer recreational amenities and things like that, as well as food. So I just put this, and I can't click through it, but okay, Paula's gonna
You tell me when to click and I'll do it.
go for it. You can click now, please.
Wow.
So this is just,
Did we get
again,
an
kind of
email copy of that?
where we are and where we've been. And we had our first stakeholder meeting with you in January. Since that time, we've performed an ALTA survey for you. We've completed the market study and the conceptual design for the site. Right now, we are at stakeholder meeting number 2. And after that, we'll put together the marketing package. You can go on to the next one. So again, just recapping the ideas for development or redevelopment you had back in January. We talked about 2 to 3 stories, maintaining an open connection to the park behind, as well as parking, and adding in a mix of different uses there. You can go on to the next one. So you have a copy of the survey. This is really important and a huge step for potential developers to have this wrapped up. This is an expense that they don't have to incur, as well as time that they can save, and they can see any kind of encumbrances that there may be on the property. I don't know, Matt, did you have anything you wanted to add
I
on
thought
this?
I'd chip in on that too.
Good.
The nice thing that happened in the ALTA is at least the package we got, which we got a very thorough title package. There were no significant, virtually no defects of title. Usually you find a couple of little things, a bust in a property line, a corner improperly set, other than a little bit of an overhead electrical, which is very common in these situations. And that's really not a cost issue or a development hindrance. You got a nice clean site from a effective title standpoint. When you have a knowledgeable developer or builder come in, and they see this, it shortens things considerably. Title surveys can stretch out closings, stretch out negotiations with just the smallest little issues. One side or the other will take advantage of that. And luckily you don't have any of that.
Quick comment here. Absolutely support all that Matt has said. One of the things that we wanted to make sure that you had when you got this RFQ package at the end is a completely ready to go site. And we have learned in other instances that we need this Alta survey. So this was a change order, and this was an additional outlay of cost on the part of MEDC, and we've made sure that it happens for you.
Thank you, Melissa.
It's the Giffel-Webster team that's doing a good job here.
Thanks. All right, and we can go to the next one. So I've got a couple of slides from the market assessment. You have the document. One of the things that I was looking at to call out were some of the figures on housing growth, really noting that Shiawassee County, most of the new housing has been single family residential. And then if you go to the next slide, we also looked at the Lansing and East Lansing CBSA, just feeling that Laingsburg is sort of on the border of that, and that area could be expanded to consider Laingsburg being part of that. Noting that in the last 3 years or so, most of the housing has been single family residential. It looks like there's a decline in 2019, but that's just because the data hasn't been finished. At the time it was conducted, that they hadn't finished that data collection. So while it has been on a downward trend, it wasn't necessarily completely down in 2019. Let me go to the next one. You'll recall we pushed a lot for the resident survey. This was really important to be able to understand how folks in the community spend their dollars and where they spend their dollars, to get to where we might be able to capture some of that back if we found that dollars were leaving the community. So in there, you'll note that there's an inclusion of the average household income, which is higher than the median household income. And that number is used, the average, the higher number, to really provide a better indication of community spending power. It doesn't really tell us the composition of the households in the community. That is more of a median household income, but in terms of spending power, that average seems to be a better figure. We can go to the next slide. So the survey also asked people about their grocery shopping the dollar amounts that they spend, where they shop, do they go out for lunch or dinner, how often, and what types of establishments people like to participate with. At least a third of your residents go out for dinner or lunch at least once a week, and about a third of those eating out a few times a week at local non-chain full service operations. In terms of apparel shopping, about a third of that is done at Kohl's, and Amazon actually about 11% of apparel purchases. And then more than a third of the residents shop online at least once a week. So we can go to the next one. Interesting assessment and questions about walkability and the importance of commercial development and blending it with walkability is really important. So this was the feedback that respondents to the survey provided in terms of shopping options that are within a walkable distance. So not finding that necessarily in a meaningful way in downtown. And then the same with restaurants, although a little bit better for restaurants. And so we're going to be, that's an interesting point when we think about redevelopment for downtown. You can go to the next slide. In terms of housing, the average home size is about 2,000 square feet. Most residents, when they were asked, said they plan to stay in their homes for the next 5 years, but a third of them say they may, or they do plan to move in the next 5 years. And those who did say they might move or they are moving, talked about lifestyle changes, a reduction in the number of people living in their household, or changes in their household members' physical condition. That could suggest a potential for the total number of people living in the community to drop, even if the households themselves maintain at their same levels. So you go to the next slide. But still with that, and knowing the growth of the greater area, the estimate for residential over the next 10 years is about 90 to 120. So 90 would be like on the realistic end, and 120 might be on a higher end or more optimistic view. And of those, between 35 and 50 could be multifamily units, and the rest would be single family. That doesn't include any type of assisted living facility or specialty adult type center. And about 15,000 square feet of multi-tenant office space over the next 10 years. I'm gonna go one more slide. Through here, we also get into some of the commercial forecasting, 198,000 square feet of retail goods and related services. So that includes restaurants, that also includes entertainment. And you can see some of the breakdown there. There's more of that in the report. Let me go to the next slide. So other observations from our partner at the Chesapeake Group, talking about working with building owners potentially on below market short-term rents that are linked to increases in revenue. So that's more of an open books type of approach to rents, to enhance walkability and consider establishing niche activities. I think these are really tied in nicely with some of the feedback that you got from the fit assessment, as well as some of the input that you gave us back in January in terms of really finding the unique things that are Laingsburg, and also things that are meaningful in the area. So we're not going to just make up stuff. We really want to see that this is reflecting the actual identity of the area. So I think those are interesting suggestions to start exploring. I think that's my last slide on the market assessment, and I can stop there if anyone has any specific questions about it. Okay, not hearing any. Matt, you want to talk about the concept? Oops. You're muted, I think, maybe.
No, I can hear you, Jill. Can you hear me?
I was asking Matt if he wanted to talk about the concept.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
I've got a shaky connection and I had it muted because I was getting some feedback. Yeah, so what you've got here, you got a couple of things that are very nice, advantageous features, at least in our opinion. You've got a walkway along the, as you're looking at the picture here, along the right edge, which whatever's done here should try and take advantage.
Okay.
The post office, and you've got a little bit of grade running across the front of the building, which is a small design challenge, but in urban areas you always have situations like that. So this building pretty much maxes out the first and second floors, leaving a little bit of area for entrances, activating the front of the building with pedestrian, cafe, open seating type of design solution, and also taking advantage of the grade. Maybe go to the next shot. I'm not sure which one's up in this sequence, but we're suggesting some. This shows you right here. The planters with the red buds or flowering crabs. That's there to hold the grade properly at what the first finished floor would be, the first floor, and allow the sidewalk to slope down. And then you have the ability to do a cafe area just offset on that. But each pretty much same square footage. They're around 10,000 square feet. The upper story we pared down a little bit to take advantage of introducing some balcony space, create some premiums, assuming that those second two floors might be residential. Certainly the top floor as designed could be both, and for that matter, either of those floors could be something other than residential. But there's a lot of flexibility built in, and we wanted to make sure that at least we're suggesting that be activated for residences. Maybe go to the next slide here. So we're basically maxing out the site. There's building footprint all the way up to the property lines, all the way around. You can see the cafe area here and how that planter comes in. Next slide. And then this is the small via that we were suggesting. You have a walkway there or access there now, and rather than turn our back on it or say that's going to be more building, we suggested embrace it. Gives you access out to the back where it's not box. Gets you back to the post office area and towards the park to the rear, and also gives you a little bit of a premium for first floor lease space, because it's oriented to open space basically on three, well, actually virtually four sides now, two of which are very active areas, which should be fairly attractive to any tenant that you bring in. Next slide. Let's try the next slide. It gives you a little better view. So we've basically got the ability to have pedestrian linkages all the way around three sides of the building. Grades aren't difficult on the walkway you see here or the via going in between. It's relatively flat. And then you can see the transition to the post office in the back. So you get a little flavor here of suggested balcony areas for residences or offices, but probably residences, I would guess. Maybe the next slide now. And this would be that back corner. You're looking out towards the main street would be to your left and in front of the building. But again, we're pushing out balconies as much as we can without being real extensive balcony system. We didn't want to take away from the floor area, but we thought it'd be an advantage. And we didn't try to not get caught up too much in design, but we did take a couple other passes at this. Got a little carried away on one or two, but they're real quick SketchUp programs. It's not something that takes up a lot of time, but we thought this fairly conventional. It suggests brick materials, either limestone or composite concrete products, and it could be a multitude of other construction materials. You could use Pantone type panels, which are integral color concrete panels. There's a lot of laminated high density synthetics that work great for exteriors. So you can have the same image, but have some fun with color, have some fun with patterns, and have fun with the material too. Next slide. I think there's one or two more, if I recall.
Yeah.
Basically same shot, just a little bit more perspective. You move on to the next one. And that would be the rear. So we're activating all sides. Make sure we have good active space all the way around. So again, about 10,000 square feet, first two floors, around 8,000. We're interested in your input on the general layout. This is really just to attract people, show them what's possible, that a substantial amount of buildings possible. Probably have, which is cost if we're throwing residential in. And if it's commercial on the second two floors or office, that may require an elevator too. And we'll build those numbers into our final performance when we prepare it. One thing we do want to do, we're going to take a look at what the possible construction numbers might be if we went with more of a modular system. Try and have some economies here.
Is it possible to get an email of the concept plans?
Say that again.
Is it possible to get an email of the concept plans? I don't know if everybody can see them or.
I thought I emailed them with your packet.
No, they weren't with.
I didn't get any either, but I can see them.
Yes, I can email them.
That'd be great. I'm unable to see them, so. Matt, did you say that the square footage was 10,000 per floor and 8,000 below?
No, and excuse my connection. I'm sure I'm fuzzing out a bit here. The first two floors, the ground level and the second floor are about 10,000 square feet. And with the balcony areas on the third floor renders down to and I'm rounding off for our discussion here.
If you go to the next slide, I did a little breakdown, I think. There you go.
There you
So
go.
there is no basement. The lowest floor is at ground level.
We're not, there would be a sub basement. You've got very limited ability to lease that. It could certainly be built in. We could certainly put that into the performa. You'd have a sub basement at least if there's an elevator for the elevator pit. This would probably be a hydraulic system rather than cable. It's less expensive. And you may have some secondary needs for the basement, but it's a lot of space and a lot of premium if you're not going to be leasing it. But we could certainly build that in if you desire.
So yeah, you could go to that next one if you want.
This one?
Yep. And that's where we are. So any feedback? This is just, as Matt said, this is really just to get, to catch a developer's eye, to be able to say, this community is thinking about new redevelopment. The market study supports a development of this size, and kind of illustrate a little bit about the things that are important to you. So I think the one thing that we think is really a nice feature of this concept and important for reflecting the market study as well as your input earlier were all those pedestrian spaces around the building. Making sure that we're connecting all of the different aspects, the park, to the parking, to Grand River, and other businesses. We want to make sure those areas are really walkable. So we want to illustrate that whenever we're talking to the development community.
Jill, I might add one item that I overlooked, and it's not an insignificant one because your ordinance really begs for parking to be provided. This site doesn't lend itself for that. Downtown frontages like this, you really don't want to park on it. It'll a parking lot or just a few spaces offsite will chew up a tremendous amount of property. And you've got some great issues here. When you introduce car parking onto this and deal with the grades, it really screws up your ability to do an effective building.
Paula, you said you had some feedback on the parking question, right? In terms of it not being required for the site, even though the ordinance, and that would be something else that we'll send you, that we won't go into the marketing, but it'll just be a separate aside on things that you might want to look at in your zoning ordinance, little clarifications or tweaks to make, and that would be one of them.
Yes, I have already talked to the our planning people, and we're going to work on that at the planning commission level.
Great.
Right now, our current the intent was in downtown that any business that wants to come in can use all of the available parking, like all of our parking lots, our street parking, to count as theirs, because it is impossible for them to create parking.
Right.
And that site is clearly impossible. I mean, you can't, if you're going to put something there, that would just be problematic anyway, to have people coming in and out of there with vehicles. So the intent is that that parking would be really not an issue.
Perfect. That's good.
Very good.
Any other feedback for us?
What you
The only
don't
thing
like,
that I would have a
what you don't like is
Matt, the
important
only
to hear
thing
too.
would have a question about would be the height of the building not towering over everything else there. And maybe I can't see what that height would be. I mean, as tall as the other buildings would be fine, or even a little taller is fine, but not maybe a full story above the rooftops of the other buildings.
Sure, it's a really good point. I think when you have the advantage of looking at the concept, you'll see one of the things what we also did was step the architecture back using the balconies and the terraces, so that that top floor is stepped back away from the frontage. Matter of fact, it's stepped back off of 3 of the facades. So you've got a little bit of a stunted height. It's pulled away from that front facade. You don't have 3 stories, 45, 50 feet of elevation right at the sidewalk. It's stepping back.
And well, I
Yeah.
think we had talked about when we do the performa to look at both 2-story building and a 3-story building, just to make sure that you're not locking yourself in to say, well, we only want 2 stories, and then to have that maybe not be feasible for the developer.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
can
think it
definitely
looks
run those
great,
numbers.
But that also may,
I personally think the building looks great. Other than if you're putting those people on the top floor and they're looking out, you know, just looking down on the neighbor's roof. It's not Chicago, that's all.
But it could be.
Well, and it's a fair point. No, you drive a good point. Looking at older buildings, roofs, you do. But in an urban situation, and this site in particular, you're looking out and over in quite a few of these balcony areas too. You've got a big vista out to the park. Most of those balconies around the perimeter, not on the street frontage, have, I always like to use the term, they have at least dramatic glimpses. And some of them have pretty good views. So it's just having that activity. But yeah, you're going to look down at a tarred, built-up roof, but you know, guess what? Those roofs at some point might be something else too. People start thinking about their building and how they take advantage of it. And it might be inexpensive to beef up the structure on the roof to activate it or go with another story. Might be. I say that with a grain of salt.
Well, that post office is a perfect building to improve on.
Oh, that building has very good bones. You're absolutely right.
A quick comment here about height. Although I totally get that we're not looking to build skyscrapers in Laingsburg. We're looking for something that is responsive to your downtown needs. It's not that they're suggesting something that is 3 stories just for the idea of building tall. One of the things that we've learned in a lot of these different projects I've worked on with Sharon, other folks as well, that you have to have a certain height to be able to afford the building to even be built. So I think that it's wise to consider the step backs that are provided there, because it's kind of lessening that visual impact. And I think that we're all learning in quarantine here that a balcony would probably be a pretty great thing to have if you're in an apartment. So I like the design.
Yeah, on that theme, that's a really good point. When you do a 2-story structure, especially in a downtown, regardless of whether it's, you know, a small intimate downtown or you know, a larger context or a bigger city, that 2 stories, probably depending on the use, there's only a few instances where you don't have to. It has a big fixed cost, and the difference in cost between a 2-story and a 3-story elevator is not much. It's the elevator itself. Once you get to 5 stories, 4.5, 5 stories, you got to go into a much more complicated elevator system, and the cost just jumped through the roof again. So you got to pay for that. You got to pay for your foundation. Exactly it. You've got a lot of fixed costs that doing 2 stories don't save you anything on. You actually are creating a larger premium per square foot in terms of affects your rents and goes on and on.
Yeah, so what you're proposing is pretty much the sweet spot.
I never thought that that never even crossed my mind when I looked at those drawings, I was like, wow. I mean, these are things that, you know, we wouldn't think of outside of our box. You know, I think that it would just, I can't imagine what that would do to downtown if someone actually built that and filled it. It's incredible.
Yeah, another thing, I'm going to get a little bit into the weeds on the design. The first floor in these newer buildings that are going up in this type of context, and actually in suburban situations, first floors, we're tending to get involved with projects where that first floor, to maintain a lot of flexibility, is anywhere from, it's not 10 feet high anymore, it's 15 to 20 feet. They want to have big active space. They want the ability to maybe put a few mezzanines in, a lot of flexibility. If it's hardware or software type goods, they want to be able to have, say it's a sporting goods, they want to be able to have a kayak and a canoe up. They want all that space, and very active. So we tend to build that first floor more than what we all would consider a first first floor, single story, say 10 feet, even 12 feet. So it's usually significantly higher than that. That's just something to keep in mind for later, but
I
15
also
feet
think that
is turning into the rule now, even if you got a coffee shop.
one of everyone's big concerns there was, traffic coming in and out there and the hill and, the slope, and that disappears with your concept. I mean,
Actually makes it great. It turns
Yeah.
into a feature. It's a
I mean,
wonderful space that Mark
exactly.
came up
When
with.
I looked at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, they fixed the issue. And, I mean, because everybody was like, well, what are you going to put there when you have, they're going to walk there? How are they going to get there? And, it solves it.
Well, we didn't fix it. We took advantage of it. How about
I
that?
like it. But I mean, it's something that we didn't think of. And everybody was like, well, that's just going to be a problem. How are you going to get traffic in and out of there? And you don't need traffic if you fill the entire site with a building.
Now, you will see downtowns with that type of a slope or grade going across the buildings, and they'll build the facade, bring it all the way up. And the issue is you start getting trapped on how that first floor tenant space works, because you got to make then a decision. Where's the door? Because that slope's breaking across. When you do what we did, we've basically frozen the grade, stepped it back. And so you've got the ability to have doors anywhere you want along that facade where that activated space is. You can't do that the minute you start pitching a sidewalk across the front. You've got to pick winners and losers in terms of how many doors you can have, which also means how many potential tenants you can have. That may not be one tenant. That may be 4, maybe 3. And freezing the grade that way, where you create a little plateau with those planters, gives you the ability to do that. You can move your doors around over time rather than being stuck with them.
I just emailed everyone that the slideshow, so you should have those concept drawings now. What's next, Mark?
Oh. Thanks a ton for the information, and hopefully we can be within 6 feet of each other the next time we meet and look at all of this together, because to me, it looked really cool. I mean, the pictures look good and the concept looks good. And it actually looks like to me that it would fit the site.
Good. Well, we'll pull all this together with the images and the market study into a marketing package for you. And we'll send that off to Paula for her review. It's probably in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Thanks a million. And thanks for trying to get this together and put it in front of us one way or another.
Sure. Thanks for including us in your meeting.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, thank you.
I was in one of these yesterday. It didn't go so smoothly. It was chaos. The community was really having a problem.
Besides bad internet connections, we're getting pretty good at it.
Yep.
Oh, this went great. This was good.
Yeah, it was good.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right,
you.
thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, on to the next thing on the agenda. If everybody's got one of those, it looks like new business. We need to have somebody maybe volunteer as to be the treasurer. And I don't know who that wants to be out there, Rosemary, but
Turning my camera off. No eye contact.
but the top right corner of my screen looks like you nodded your head that you would take that position. Motion for Rosemary to be treasurer.
Second.
It's fine.
I have a motion and a second, it sounds like. All in favor? Aye.
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 That sounds unanimous to me.
I'm gonna call that an all yes roll call vote on that one.
Yes.
And the
Those
motion
were all
was
yeses and the,
Dar the motion.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Paula, by the way, did we do, I'm sure we approved the meeting minutes. I was at the February meeting, just FYI. I didn't know if anybody had approved those yet or not.
Yeah, we did before you and Mark got on, we did the treasurer's report in the minutes.
10-4. And now we've got a new treasurer, so we've taken care of that.
Congratulations.
And the treasurer needs to write a check, I'm assuming, to the Gieslers, because we owe them some money. Apparently we said we'd pay them, so there's really no reason not to pay them. And I don't think we really even need to have we don't need to do anything other than we'll send them a check. Is that okay, Gail?
She's muted, Cassie.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
I can
she
unmute
was
Yes.
she was the treasurer. She was the treasurer for 24 hours, and now she's passing that right along to Rosemary.
It's a little longer than 24 hours, but yes.
Okay, so we'll get you a check. We'll bring it over to you one way or another. There's no reason, we don't need to vote on it or anything because we had already voted on that previous, right, Paula?
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I put it in the packet so you guys knew that this was pretty much already approved. You want a motion, fine. If you don't, we're good with that, so.
No, it was already approved, so we'll take care of it.
Perfect.
All right, do you have any phase forward applications?
Yes. It's Gieslers.
Say again, the Gieslers?
Yes. And if you want, I can share my screen and show you their application if you want.
I have no idea if that'll come up, but.
You want to tell me what it is?
Yeah, I got
There
it.
you go. You're
You can
talking.
email
Go
them
ahead
again,
and tell us.
Paula.
Just email it to them all again?
So I can give
Oh,
a
that way
quick,
Richard and Mark will get it.
Jeff can give you a quick.
I can give you a quick description of what we're wanting to do.
That's fine.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So, as you all know, we did the front of the building, 4 years ago, replaced all the windows on the front. Now what we want to do is replace the windows on the east side, most of them, not all of them, but they're all fixed windows. There, one of them is about falling out. They look pretty crappy. But then also the windows on the back of the building in the alley, and then on the west side, replace all those windows. So that's essentially what it comes down to in a nutshell.
What is the cost of that, and what are you looking to try to get?
So there's 12 windows. Okay, yeah.
There you go.
See the windows circled in green there are the ones that talking about replacing there. Making those, putting windows back in that space. And then replacing those windows.
There are 12 windows total. So the quote, just so people see the quote X'd out, I got the quote with, one of them are for white windows and one of them are for windows that are colored on the outside. What you're seeing, what I went with was the one they're colored. Haven't picked a color, probably match what's on the front, but that was why the quote was, had a big chunk of it X'd out.
Paula, what is 70% is what we do, correct?
Yes.
What is 70% of the 7161?
It ended up being about $5,003. I didn't plan on it being like that exact, but that's what it was.
So 5,000 will get us under in our budget and will be correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So are these
What does
replacing
anyone
windows
think?
to their original historic character, or is it just going to be?
Even when we did the facade, these are actually windows that are, what do I want to say, efficient.
Historic.
So I don't know what, they're energy efficient windows that we'll be putting in, yes.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just looking more at the style because these are traditional looking windows on the upper levels, which is, I think replacing those windows, there's really like added value in replacing those types of windows because when they're replaced, it's just going to really transform that building. They're not just conventional window replacements. These are historic looking window openings, and when they're reopened with glass, it's just going to be really impactful, I think. So I think the price is right. If 12 windows, the price seems right. Just kind of doing back of the envelope kind of math, it's not inflated at all. That actually feels like a value to me.
Well, that's me putting the windows in, so there's no labor in it. It's just for the windows.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
That's why. Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, that explains it.
Inexpensive.
That explains it. Yeah.
Sorry.
Replace windows. I was like,
that's
wow.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I was like, wow, that is a bargain.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful windows, and I would love to see them replaced.
Now, the one thing that I did do, Paula, can you bring that back up and go to the east side windows?
Yep, just a second. I was emailing it to everybody quick.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I know, I'm trying to multitask here. Let me see.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about once we pull them up so we know which windows we're talking about.
Right. I wouldn't mind seeing those pictures again, yeah.
Right. You want the pictures?
Yep, those right there. So those windows you'll see actually are single hung or single hung windows, right? What I'm proposing to put in there is basically a picture windows, right? So they won't move, they won't open. That's, to be honest, it was a cost thing versus if you go in that's on the second floor, but there isn't a second floor there. So those windows would never open anyways, at least with the configuration of the building now. So there would be a little bit of a change in the style. I could do the single hung, but that was why I made that decision, right? Paul, if you go down to, go ahead.
Can I ask a question on this picture?
Sure.
The 3 windows to the right in the distance
Yep. Mm-hmm.
that are not in the green, they look like like there was a barricade put on the lower half of those 3 windows. Is that right? Like the lower half has been barricaded off?
There's a signage. It's a sign. a place to
With
put,
a sign.
yeah, welcome to Laingsburg, or here's the Opera House, or whatever, right? And don't know the history of why. I mean, I believe those windows were the same height as the other windows.
Yeah, and historical ones, I think they were all the same, but something.
So I'm just wondering,
Right.
I'm wondering why you wouldn't replace those three as well and bring them back into the same condition as the others.
So the real reason for that is that space there is a second floor there. There's an office space there. We don't know if we're going to keep it an office space. We don't know what we're going to do with that space. So to answer your question, yeah, we're probably replacing those windows at some point. We just don't know what the use of that space is going to be, and don't want to spend money and put a type of window in there that we're going to end up having to replace once we figure out what we're doing with it. Does that make sense?
Paula, did you email the package?
I did.
So Paul, if you go down to the next, actually go down to the picture of the west side of the building. So not the next picture, but the one below that.
This one?
The one in the alley.
Yeah, no, not the alley, the one.
That's facing towards the PDPs.
Yeah.
The one that's facing towards PDPs.
Although our screen hasn't changed.
Because I went to look at my email.
Well, yeah.
All right, let me go back and try this again. Let me find it.
Those windows on that side that you're talking about, Jeff, on the east side that she was bringing up also, those windows were all the same size, and they were not, if you look at the history of the building and look at the pictures, they weren't windows that opened anyway.
Okay.
So you're going actually back to what they were.
Perfect. Yeah.
Jack is the one that took those other 3 windows and shrunk them down when he put his offices up there.
Yes, that's what I think too.
So those have they've been covered over, and they're all were the same size.
Yeah, because if you were to look from the inside, and if you had the full windows in there, the windows would be basically sitting on the floor.
Correct, yes, yeah. But that's where he put his offices. That's why he raised those windows up.
Yep, okay, yep, didn't know that. Yeah, so now these windows, and then the ones in the alley, these will be casement windows, as opposed to the single hung that they are now. So we're changing those. Don't know if it matters. The reason for that is they need to be egress windows. And in order to get egress, I needed to do casement. Those windows.
Again, I think they will look more right, in my opinion, because in that old building, they did not have it didn't have a double hung, so there was not a line in the center. And if you're putting in casements, there won't be a line there no more.
Yep.
Jeff, are you replacing the ones that are paneled off in the back too, or just I don't have the package that you guys are looking at. Yeah.
The ones on the alley.
Yeah, the back.
Those are those will be replaced. Yes, so they're not replaced. There will be windows put in there.
Right. So I make a motion to accept the face forward package from Giesler's as long as everything is in order. I don't have it in my email yet, so I'll rely on you guys.
And this is Sharon. I would second that.
For the full 5,000, as long as everything's in order.
Paula, you got that written down?
I do. Now I have to do a roll call vote.
Excellent. Go.
Hang on here. Here we go. I made Cassie the host again, so. All righty. Dar.
Yeah, but I didn't get the package. I don't know if you said, I know you said you emailed it, but you don't have to do it right now. If you could just email that to me, that'd be great, but yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Cribbs,
Yes.
Culpepper,
Yes.
Ridsdale,
Yes.
Chinsky,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Frank.
Yes,
Wonderful.
carried. We'll take care of it.
All righty.
What's in the other, Paula? You?
Well, on old business, we had that prosperity project. We didn't talk,
$2,000.
yeah, the $2,000 that you and we talked about on the phone for the sign.
Correct?
Did you talk to Mayo?
I have, and he said he'll try to help us out, yes.
Okay, so one of my concerns is having that money spent by June with everything that's going on. I don't know if they're gonna stick to that or not, but that is the update on that one. Is that we're kind of working on that sign, but we're supposed to have that money spent in June. Hopefully we get
Repay
that done.
They'll bend the rules for us.
Maybe. So, the rest of what I had is, I don't know, how many of you got the packets? But in the packet, I sent you some pictures of, like tables and chairs. We talked about, there's a mini, I think Justin is still on the phone, and there's a mini placemaking grant. And, it's for $2,000. But it also asks that you like leverage other funds. And I thought if the DDA and the city wanted to go together and work on purchasing some tables, chairs, and umbrellas for outdoor seating. And perhaps we could get, doing some measurements to see what can fit on the sidewalk. It looks like, we could probably get a set of tables and chairs and an umbrella for like $400 to $600. With an umbrella stand. And then we kind of, I don't know if any of you looked at the pictures or not, but we tried to superpose tables and chairs in front of Boondocks, Twilligers, Tammy's, PDPs. And I think it kind of falls in with everything we have going on. If this summer people can actually get out and do something, that it would really help support our businesses to have that outdoor seating. I don't know what other problems that creates, but it is something, it's an idea, and I guess it's up to you guys if you want to support that, or we could apply for something else with the $2,000. It was just an idea that I came up with.
Where is this? Where's this one?
That's out back, but I wouldn't put them there. She just kind of did some samples.
Okay.
One is behind Boondocks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, the parking lot area.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Paula, did you take?
Do we have
into
a place to
consideration-
store? Do we have a place to store? Do we have a place to store them in the winter?
I would assume the DPW can find a place. We have storage at City Hall. We also have, the Lions Club have that barn out at Bay Scout Park. I think we can probably figure something out, but no, I hadn't really figured that all out yet. But I'll make a note of that.
I think it looks
That was
great.
the
Maybe
first
a-
thing that come to my mind was if Dave had room to put these things somewhere for the winter.
And that's a good option. We'll have to figure something out on that.
I don't think that should stop us.
But the pictures looked kind of neat when she threw those tables and chairs in front of there. I do think it would really spruce things up, throw some flowers out there and make everybody look open for business, and kind of nice. We could probably put them in front. I didn't think about it at the time, but probably in front of Rosemary's too. Because you guys have people come in and out of there that might enjoy some outdoor seating.
Yeah, we do.
So are the bars allowed to serve alcohol out to those tables then, or do they have to be roped off?
I don't think they could serve alcohol out there without, I mean, that would be like a question for the police chief or liquor control, but somebody would know the answer to that, and we may be able to get something so they could serve out there, but they may not be able to do that.
The biggest concern I would have is that who's gonna take care of the chairs at night when the businesses close and so they don't get vandalized and stuff? Business owners or,
Well, I wouldn't have to
I'm
worry
not trying to poo-poo the deal. I'm just, that's one thought I had.
about vandalism, but I guess, you know, it's something that I don't think we could put them somewhere every night. I think that they would always.
I purchased Subway and I purchased 2 picnic tables down for our store. And I think I had the same concern, and so far so good. Nobody's ever done anything to the picnic tables.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good report there. That was the only thing. I think it looks wonderful. I think it gives the street life. And a couple people sitting there will give it that much more life.
You could place the tables in front of businesses that say, you know, if they're concerned, maybe they could pull the tables into the door at night when they close up, you know, each business.
That just seems more effort. I think I think some of the businesses might decline having these tables put out there if they're responsible for that. Especially in the restaurant, there's enough to do in the closing, let alone to clean the outside tables every night and then find a place to put them inside your building. I think it might be more than people want.
Yeah, I think it would just be voluntary that, you know, you're not being asked to be responsible for the table, but if you had the notion to just pull it inside, you could. It's just optional.
Well, the table may not be the worry as much as just the chairs. They're easy to carry off. Somebody can pick it up and just carry it down the sidewalk.
Don't some places, and maybe we could all take a look around once we're allowed back outside, but don't some places like that, don't they have some sort of chain that they sort of kind of leave on and weave through to prevent that theft? There's got to be.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, if we do this, those are things we can work through.
Yep.
But and that, I mean, for sure that's concern the vandals. But we do have other benches and things that are mobile that they don't mess with. And you know, most of those, the bars and stuff in the summer, there's a lot of activity downtown as it is. So I feel like most people aren't gonna it's gonna be like a rare occasion that somebody just goes and takes them all. So I don't know.
Goodness knows, all we got to do is put it on the Laingsburg community page and we'll find them in 5 minutes.
There you go. But I mean, we can work on how we're going to secure them if it's something you guys want to do.
I personally think we ought to move forward on it myself.
Yes.
So it looks like, you know, I can apply for the $2,000, but I think they're going to want some money to go with it to show, you know, we're in the game. So
you said how much? It was about $600 for tables?
I think that we could probably easily
set.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, you know, we probably want 4 to 6 sets. So
$3,600 approximately, about $4,000.
We could add some potted flowers and some things like that, you know, to really spruce it up. But
so are we going to ask the business owners if they want this out front?
I don't know. I guess we could ask them, but we were just thinking all of the food places. And then as we were sitting here, I thought your place would probably work too. I mean, however you guys want to do that.
Well, you know, when I think about my place, I think it'd be nice to have the potted flowers to match what's across the street, but I don't have the ability to manage tables and chairs out front and bring that inside. So I wonder if we don't want to have businesses have extra work to do about it.
It
either.
wasn't the intent at all. I felt like it was, the city
I
would
think
be,
it's beautiful.
but
I do
mean-
think it's beautiful. I
Well,
love it.
In the past, there has been food establishments that's asked us if they could put tables out there. They just haven't done it. So we might find there's a better response than what we think there is, because we can work through a lot of details. I mean, I sat here and know that we can put a con in the cement and put a chain to it and wrap it around the leg and put a lock on it if we had to. So that takes care of the table part. The chair is just the issue right now, and somebody will come up with that thought. So I mean, one chain could be chained to the one to the cement and hold the table and chair secure if we got into that position. So I do believe it all could be worked out. And some business owners may not want it, and I guess that would be their option and choice. But if there's no maintenance to it, then what are they going to say?
Right, right. I think it looks beautiful.
If you're going after a couple of $1,000, why don't we put a couple $1,000 out there, and if the city puts a couple thousand, that's $6,000. If you get the grant, if you don't, we still can maybe move forward and put more in or go from there. So why don't we at least double what your grant is that you're trying to get, and get the city to maybe put in the same amount we're putting in, and then we'll go from there.
Is that a form of a motion, Mark?
Yes, that's what you're gonna do, is give me one.
I can make a motion, we move forward and donate $2,000 to the project on the DDA's part for the tables and chairs and search and up to, but not limited. So.
I'll second
A
the
second.
motion. That's Ridsdale will second.
I got it, Mark. Got a motion in a second.
Take
Can I
your
ask
roll
a
call.
question? Oh, sorry.
Wendy has a question, Mark.
It's actually not about that. I was waiting until this was over. I wanted to go back to something with Gail.
Okay, let's finish this. Take your roll call, Paula.
All righty. Dar,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Jinsky,
Yes.
Ridsdale,
Yes.
Culpepper,
Yes.
Cribbs.
Yes.
Mark, do you vote?
No, I'm not supposed to, but yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, what was the question that we had about Giesler's?
It's actually a comment. Gail, the place you guys own, was that the original Opera House?
Yes.
So I just real quick wanted to show everybody, since we were talking about the windows, somehow my husband and I inherited this book from his grandmother. I'm gonna turn it around. From his grandmother, and it's called, has anybody ever seen this? The Hill and Below?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and isn't this your place, Gail? The Opera House?
Yes, that's it.
And those are the windows?
Yes.
I just thought it was neat. So sorry, I didn't have a question, but I just thought that was cool that those are the windows we're talking about.
Yes. Very
So
cool.
that photo was from 1911.
Just for your information, if you wanted to go downtown and look at the history signs, that actual photo right there is on our history signs downtown.
There you go. That was it.
Thank you, Wendy.
Uh-huh.
Okay, one other thing, I don't think you had that on here, Paula, was Boyd, the landscaper, flowers. Seems that we're talking about some flowers.
Correct.
We need to sign a contract with him per usual.
Yes.
It's in our budget. I don't think we need to vote on it. We'll just, I'll get a hold of him and we will get him to go ahead and get to work now that she's said that they can go to work.
Well, I talked to him today, and one of the things he mentioned that would be additional, you guys have been talking about adding perennials. And he said if you want to add some more perennials every year, it's an additional $650.
I'll talk to him.
So you don't want to vote on doing that?
No, he can add some perennials, and then we'll give him a little more money next year.
All righty.
He owes us a favor this time.
Oh, there you go.
So I'll just call him and talk to him, and we'll get him paid.
Okay.
Is there anything else that we need to go over?
I just have one more.
Sure.
The advertising for the Shiawassee County Visitors Guide, I emailed that out today. It's something we've been doing. We are going to need to change up our ad though. Our ad, I don't know, it shows, all of our festivals and all of our other things. And so I don't know what we want to do, if we want to change up our ad, if we still want to do this, but typically the DDA and the city share in that ad, and I always seek approval before I do it.
Can I make a suggestion?
I saw that. Go ahead.
So my suggestion, what I'm seeing a lot of other DDAs doing across Michigan right now is really promoting and supporting their restaurants and eateries and drinking establishments as well, and maybe taking the festivals and the events off because it's so unsure right now, and to just go ahead and list all of our restaurants and eateries on there instead. And just really, I think that would really make an impression because we really have a great selection and some great choices. Maybe it's just a good way to keep it going and continue supporting the Shiawassee, the advertisement, but maybe give something back to our businesses in this tough time.
Because I mean, normally we put on there like our music in the park and our movies and stuff, and I just don't know. I mean, because that ad's going to have to be done pretty soon, so I don't know what route we should take with those. If we should just put, see the city's website or whatever for upcoming scheduled events. I mean, something. I feel like we should still do something because it is important right now to especially advertise for those businesses, but on the other hand, I don't want to be the one to work it up and, forget a business. So.
Is this
Well, putting an advertisement.
Go ahead, Mark.
Advertising whatever may not happen or we have no clue of what will happen, and paying for it is probably really, maybe, like she said, we could put the money towards at least advertising for the businesses.
Yeah, no, I'm saying use that advertisement to use that spot, but it just kind of take the content, change the content on that advertisement so that instead of, and I like what you're saying, Paula, definitely still providing a link to our events on our website, but rather than listing our events on that ad spot, just listing our eateries and restaurants. Because that's what people are looking for right now, is to just get out of the house. We can't really gather in groups, but we can certainly go do pickup or, go out for a meal.
Well, and these go out to like all the visitor centers and stuff in the state. So what I can do, and they work with us on the advertisement itself. So I could contact the people who are developing that booklet and find out, because everybody else must be in the same boat, trying to figure out what to put in this ad.
Well, and that the visitor centers and stuff, the way they're set up now, the traffic, no travel, it may not get spread around as much as it normally does, like you're saying. It's just a matter of staying in contact and support. 'Cause none
So
of it's-
basically, I
Do we
guess,
know,
go ahead,
do
Mark.
we know if the circus is coming to town?
No, that has been canceled.
All right, so there's another thing that's been canceled.
Right, and at this point, you know, the next thing on the agenda would be movies, music, and pancake breakfast and car show. You know, we don't know where that's gonna land.
I just don't see spending the money on it for something we have maybe no return in it at all.
So my suggestion, if you guys are gonna go if we're gonna go the route of the eateries, I think it's only fair to include all the businesses that Laingsburg has to offer. If it's going throughout the whole state, if that's where the advertisement's going.
Right, this ad is the Shiawassee County Visitors Guide. So it goes all over the county, and it also goes to all of the welcome centers in the state at the, you know, the rest areas. A big booklet. I don't know if any of you have seen it before. I don't have one with me, but I feel like last year it had a big train on it or something. I don't know. It's just it's got everybody in Shiawassee County, you know, put something in it. We didn't, I mean, we just started doing this, what, 5 or 7 years ago? I don't know, but.
Well, I think somebody mentioned see what they're doing, because like somebody just said, we're all in the same boat, so.
Yeah, that was me. I'm just like, I mean, I can contact the people that are putting this book together and find out what others are doing. And I don't know the exact deadline for this, so. But I can figure that out if you guys want to advertise. If you don't, I mean, that's fine too. You know, I just need to know what you want to do.
What's the cost of this?
I think the half-page ad was 1,500. And usually
That's what it said.
yeah, usually the city and the DDA share it.
See, Mark, I feel a lot like you do, but on the other side, as Wendy has pointed out, I think if we did list every business and we filled our spot with every business name in Laingsburg and say, we are here and we are open type of deal, it might work just as well. We don't even know if we're going to have campers at the state park this year. So, you know, that's 300,000 people. We don't even know if we'll see. But I do believe in order to keep the name out there and keep in people's mind, there does need to be something put out there, whatever cost it is, as far as where we spent or under.
I mean, could we do something like visit Laingsburg, we're open for business, something like that, and put one of those QRL things in there where you click on that and it would bring up all the businesses or something?
Something like that, I think would be wonderful.
I just feel like that half-page ad might be, I think we might lose some effectiveness trying to put every business on that half-page ad. So how could we do that and still make it, you know, everybody's using their phone, so they're looking at it and they can do that thing where they could pop up or something. I mean, I'm talking about stuff I have no idea how to do, but just know people do it.
Well, I certainly don't, but you know, something like that that directs us to our businesses one way or the other, I think is wonderful.
I could help you with that, Paula.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you can get those, you can just have those generated, and then it's just an image that you put on there, just like you put any other picture on.
I mean, does that make more sense than trying to list every business on a half-page ad?
Agreed.
Or we could go with a full-page ad and then be able to have room, maybe. I don't know. Hi, Cassie.
Well, since I see this coming towards my way, if that the symbol
See, somebody
could
knows how
direct
to do
it.
this.
Well, the symbol could direct it to a special page that we add to our website that did list all those businesses.
Right, that's what you would have to, that's what would have to happen.
But if you want to do it, we'll think up something that, you know, showcases our businesses and lets people know that Laingsburg's open for business and visitors and parks are there and we got tables and chairs and outdoor seating.
6 feet apart.
Maybe we could have the bands play over our microphone, over our downtown speaker system and
There you go.
6 feet
Well,
apart.
I've actually thought about, we could actually videotape them and people could watch them in their homes too. I mean, I've thought of ideas. I mean, I think we'll cross that road when we get there, but
Well, I think you should move
Let's
forward
say
and find
we're-
out what you can, Paula.
I mean, and you don't have to split it. The DDA can put up $500 or what, and the city will determine if they want to do it for the rest. It's just something we've been doing, and I still think we need to probably right now more than anything support our businesses and get that word out there. So.
Motion.
Make a motion, we spend up to $1,500 for the Shiawassee County guide or distribution.
You want to share it with the city?
And share it with the city.
Okay.
To split the cost.
I'd be happy to help. Yeah, if you want any help with, I don't know how you might want help, Paula, but if you need help putting together a list of businesses or restaurants and eateries, or maybe you need an image or just a little bit of design work or something, I can help with that.
Great, thank you. Take all the help I can get.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
All righty. Dar,
Yeah, yay, nay, whatever, yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Chinsky, Ridsdale,
Yes.
Culpepper,
Yes.
Cribs.
Yes.
Mark doesn't vote.
Carried. Okay, I think that's it, isn't it?
I think we probably covered an awful lot tonight on a Zoom meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Over now.
Thanks for coming, everybody. And hopefully we see you face to face next month.
Hopefully.
Maybe outside.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
our new picnic table.
exactly.
You can be sitting at the park at the table 6 foot apart.
There you go.
All right,
Good
so
night,
Mark,
guys.
you're gonna call Boyd.
Yes, I am.
All right, and Rosemary and Sharon and Cassie are gonna help me with this ad. I'll be in touch.
And then how am I getting treasurer stuff?
Um,
I'll be in the office Thursday, Rosemary, if you want to come, and I can leave it in the vestibule for you.
Okay.
And
she
you can
has
look
her
it over,
mask
and then if you have any questions, I can help you.
Okay. I'll probably.
I'm out. Good night,
Rose.
guys.
good night.
Rosemary,
Yeah?
we write like 2 texts a month.
Okay. I know it's gonna be a heavy lift.
Yeah. All right, thanks. See
We're here to
everybody.
help. Rosemary, we can help with all of it, so.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone. You gotta end it, Brown.
I gotta end it. All right.
Yeah.
See ya.